How are different regions reacting to this conflict, Tamai Jarvis, and what does this mean for international norms and alliances?
Well, in terms of the reaction from different regions, it has been mixed. We have Spain, the same NATO members. Spain is not okay with this because the Spanish government recently refused America from using their air base to strike Iran. And this caused a lot of rift. As I'm talking to you right now, there's a rift between the Trump administration and Spain. The Trump administration immediately yesterday announced that they will impose maximum tariff on Spain, and that Spain is supposed to be an ally, a NATO ally, but refusing their base is unacceptable. And America had to leave the Spanish military base so that they will not attack Iran. You also have the mixed reaction also coming from earlier. There was the mixed reaction coming from Britain, where Keir Starmer had earlier rejected the fact that the British air bases, military bases should not be used to attack Iran. But as the war started, he immediately switched his position when the British base in Cyprus was hit. And when it was hit, he immediately gave the permission for America to use this. Now, at the level of the Middle East, which is supposed to come with solidarity, there is a very big divide in the Middle East because you have Pakistan. Pakistan has now shown their support for Iran, but they say Iran should stop attacking its neighbors. They said Iran should not attack its neighbors. They stand in solidarity with Iran. And note that there's also another war between Pakistan and Afghanistan. We just started that was last week. And at the end of the day, Pakistan is saying that they are standing with Iran. But if you look at the neighbors, Iranian neighbors, you look at the Bahrain, Qatar, you look at UAE, Saudi Arabia, all of these people have maintained a principle of partial neutrality. When I mean by partial neutrality, I'm talking about the fact that they have not openly said they stand with America or they stand against America, but they have simply used their resources to shoot down projectiles being launched from Iran to attack American military bases, because to them they first consider that this is an attack to their airspace. Whether you are attacking an American military base is an attack to their airspace. That's what I talked about. I talked about partial neutrality because Iran expected that since they are hitting the American target, they expected that these countries should not interfere in their strike, but rather America should be the one to shoot down their projectile or shoot down their mixer or their drones on American air bases. But we have seen that some of these attacks, this mixer have landed on civilian buildings and business centers, so which now gave a problem. Now you see, yesterday evening, the defense minister of UAE came out and said UAE will attack if Iran continue their strike on their territory. Saudi Arabia also yesterday said they are ready to go to war with Iran if Iran continue their strike. Now, in the Middle East belt, you express a kind of neutrality or solidarity towards Iran is lacking. Come to Africa. Before Africa, let's move to Asia. You see, at the level of the Korean Peninsula, you only have North Korea, which is expected. North Korea, Kim Jong-un, that has condemned the attack. And you also have the Russian President Dmitry Medvedev, who is the World Council's chairperson in Russia, has condemned the attack and described Donald Trump. He said Donald Trump is a warmonger who paraded himself as the peace ambassador. Now, if you come to Africa, at a certain level in Africa, what are those countries that have condemned? South Africa has taken a stand that they want to negotiate between America and Iran. They want to mediate. But remember that America has a problem with South Africa. First, Trump refused to attend the G20 that was held in South Africa over the problem of that South Africa is maltreating white farmers. Now, South Africa also had a problem with Israel because South Africa was a country that took Israel to the ICC, and ICC had to give an international arrest warrant on the head of Benjamin Netanyahu. So South Africa would definitely side with Iran, because also remember that South Africa is a strong member of the BRICS, and Iran is also part of the BRICS. So at the end of the day, South African neutrality is questionable. You move to Cameroon. To the best of my knowledge, has not officially taken a stand or released a communique, whether condemning or reaffirming. You move to Nigeria. Nigeria is the same. They have most of these African countries have maintained a sealed lips as far as this is concerned. But one would have expected that Egypt, Tunisia, Morocco will react, because all of them are in the Arab League. These are nations, they may be African nations, but They are in the Arab League and share the same view. But you see, these three nations have not said anything. We instead saw America calling on its citizens to leave Egypt.
We've seen Morocco siding with the Gulf states, as well as Algeria, which was considered an Iranian ally.
Yes.
Sides
yes.
With, the Gulf.
The issue is that don't attack a fellow Gulf state. But in terms of the America and Iran exchanges, they have not said anything. Because normally, they have a right to talk about they condemn the attack on the Gulf state because they belong to the Arab League. But in terms of the war itself between Israel, US against Iran, they have not taken a position. They have not said whether they are against America or they are against. You also have Kenyan president. Kenyan president came out, instead of condemning the war between Israel and Iran, the president of Kenya instead condemned Iran attack on the Gulf state. He released a strong statement that attacking the Gulf state.
That is what Algeria and Morocco also
said,
yeah?
That attacking the neighboring state is unacceptable as it's a violation of international sovereignty and breach peace within the neighbor state. But he failed to actually condemn whether America violated or Iran violated. So at this point in time, to answer what Mr. Patas is saying, in this conflict, there is no right or wrong. The only right or wrong is how much powers you have. And when you said Russia had a right, I laughed, because if Russia had a right because you say there was a Minsk agreement that was not respected, also America has a right because they have had credible evidence to show that their major ally, Israel, is under attack, and even America is under attack. Remember, there was a 1953 conflict in Iran. Americans were killed in Iran. Americans were killed in Iran. That was what led to the Iranian Revolution. So when you are looking at who has the right, that Russia has the right, also remember that America also had the right. Mr. Patazi, I'll be very honest with you that if you have a child that is bullying your child in school, that is threatening your child, is chanting death to your child, you will leave your house and go and get that child beaten. But there is a principle of territoriality. This is simple within us. That your child comes and tells you that there's one person that is bullying and is chanting that I will kill you, I will kill your father. I don't believe that you will stay in that house and wait for that child to come and kill your own child. You will leave your house and go and preemptive. And that's the same thing that's happening. Nobody has the right. Let me give a typical example. There's an M23 rebel issue. You have DRC and Rwanda. It's clear. But what has the African Union done? You said Trump has violated international policy. We have had a lot of international law violated. Are you not aware about the Naira 6, the Abuja court ruling? Is it not part of international law? Everybody is violating international law based on their strength. Okay. So at the end of the day, Trump own is not exception, and Russia own is not a key that Russia was supposed to because the Minsk agreement was disrespected. It is all about interest based. Are my interest or is my interest on the right pedestal? Unfortunately for us, that's why I will repeat it, that if I am the president of this country, if I see that my interest is at stake, I will go and secure my interest. Every nation, you see the same thing Nigeria did in the Bakassi Peninsula. When Nigeria realized that the Bakassi Peninsula was in their interest, what did they do? They invaded. Fortunately, we had the gallant soldiers, and also we had the law was on our side. We fought. We defended, and unfortunately for Nigeria, we won them, and we won also at the tribunal. So the question on rightness or wrongness, that's why in research methodology, which I will always teach students in university, is that there is what we call the nomenclative. Nomenclative are what ought to be, but it's usually not what is. Because on the ground, you go with the Darwin principle of survival of the fittest. It's only the strong survive. It's the same like a Maslow principle of hierarchy of need. You cannot talk about security when you are not full, when you are hungry. So at the end of the day, Patazi, whether Russia, I understand that you pay your allegiance to your analysis on the Cuban Missile Crisis, which I agree with you that in that same Cuban Missile Crisis, John Franklin Kennedy, at the time was the president of America, whom he said that fellow citizens, arise, the security of our country is in danger. The mixer of our enemies, Russia, are within the short range of our major cities. The future generation of America will not forgive us if we fail to react. That was why they reacted to the Bay of Pigs incident. I agree with you. But on the other side too, if Russia has decided to stay in mute, it's their problem. America has a right not to tolerate. If Russia wants to tolerate, it's their problem. The issue of tolerance is based on how it's a character issue or a principle issue. The way you react to something is not the way I will react to something. Don't expect me to react your way. Conclusively, on this note, that we see this conflict moving around, America has a right to defend Israel and to carry out a preemptive strike because we have had credible evidences where Iran have been chanting death to America,
Okay.
also Israel.
Now,